अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमद अभय चरणा रविंद्र भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शीला प्रभुपाद की, इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य शीला प्रभुपाद की, नमाचार्य शीला हरिदास ठाकुर की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद भागवतम की. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki. Hare Krishna. So, welcome to morning Bhagavatam class. Today we are reciting the verse from Canto 3, chapter 24, renunciation of Kardama and text number 35. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So please repeat with me the text 35. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Proktam Hi Lokasya Pramanam Satya Laukike Atha Jani Maya Tubhyam Yad Avocham Rutam Mune. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Proktam Hi Lokasya Pramanam Satya Laukike Atajani Maya Tubhyam Yad Avocham Rutam Mune. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Proktam Hi Lokasya Pramanam Satya Laukike Atajani Maya Tubhyam Yad Avocham Rutam Mune. Prabhuji. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Proktam Idam Yad Avocham Rutam Mune. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Proktam Hi Lokasya Pramanam Satya Laukike Atajani Maya Tubhyam Yad Avokam Rutam Mune. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Proktam Hi Lokasya Pramanam Satya Laukike Atajani Maya Tubhyam Yad Avocham Rutam Mune. Okay, so word to one meaning. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Maya, by me, Proktam, spoken, he, in fact, Lokasya, for the people, Pramanam, authority, Satya, spoken in scriptures, Laukike, and in ordinary speech, Ata, therefore, Ajhani, there was birth, Maya, by me, Tubhyam, to you, Yat, that which, Avocham, I said, Ritam, true, Muni, O sage. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So please repeat with me. The personality of Godhead said, the personality of Godhead Kapila said, whatever I speak, whether directly or in the scriptures, is authoritative in all respects for the people of the world. O Muni, because I told you before that I would become your son, I have descended to fulfill this truth. Purport. So, Kardama Muni was to leave his family life to complete engage in the service of the Lord. But since he knew that Lord himself as Kapila had taken birth in his home as his own son, why was he preparing to leave home to search out self-realization or God realization? God himself was present in his home. Why should he leave home? Such a questions may certainly arise. But here it is said that whatever is spoken in Vedas or whatever is practiced in accordance with injunctions of the Vedas is to be accepted as authoritative in the society. Vedic authority says that householder must leave home after his 50th year. Panchashadrom Vanam Rajet. One must leave his family life and enter the forest after the age of 50. This is an authoritative statement of the Vedas based on the division of social life into four departments of activity: Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. Kharda Muni practiced yoga very rigidly as a brahmachari before his marriage, and he became so powerful and attained so much mystic power that his father Brahma ordered him to marry and beget children as a householder. Kardama did that also. He begot 9 good daughters and 1 son, Kapila Muni, and thus his householder duty was also performed nicely. And now his duty was to leave. Even though he had the Supreme Personality of Godhead as his son, he had to respect the authority of the Vedas. This is a very important lesson. Even if one has God in his home as his son, one should still follow the Vedic injunctions. It is stated, Mahajana ye gana ye gata sapanta. One should traverse the path of which is followed by great personalities. Kardama Muni's example is very instructive, for in spite of having the Supreme Personality of God as his son, he left home just to obey the authority of the Vedic injunctions. Kardama Muni states here that main purpose of his leaving home while traveling all over the world as a mendicant, he would always remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead with his heart and thereby be freed from all anxieties of material existence. In this age of Kali Yuga, sannyasa is prohibited because persons in this age are all Shudras and cannot follow the rules and regulations of sannyasa life. It is very commonly found that so-called sannyasis are addicted to nonsense, even to having private relationships with women. This is the abominable situation in this age. Although they dress themselves as sannyasis, they still cannot free themselves from the 4 principles of sinful life, namely illicit sex, life, meat, eating, intoxication, and gambling. Since they are not freed from these 4 principles, they are cheating the public by posing as swamis. In Kali Yuga, the injunction is that no one should accept sannyasa. Of course, those who actually follow the rules and regulations must take sannyasa. Generally, however, people are unable to accept sannyasa life, and therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stressed, Kalau nasteva, nasteva, nasteva gatir anyata. In this age, there is no other alternative, no other alternative, no other alternative than to chant the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The main purpose of sannyasi life is to be in constant companionship with the Supreme Lord, either by thinking of Him within the heart or hearing of Him through oral reception. In this age, hearing is more important than thinking because one's thinking may be disturbed by mental agitation. But if one concentrates on hearing, he will be forced to associate with the sound vibration of Krishna. Krishna and sound vibration, Krishna are non-different. So if one loudly vibrates Hare Krishna, he will be able to think of Krishna immediately. This process of chanting is the best process of self-realization in this age. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya prepared it so nicely for the benefit of all humanity. So very long purport and so many interesting important points. So let's start, do Mangalacharan first. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Tam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakanvitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyasya Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Hare Krishna. Once again, welcome everyone. So that today, before discussing today's verse, just will briefly revise what are all things discussed in this chapter so far. So, as promised by Supreme Lord to the Kardama Muni, and so he appeared as his son, Kardama Muni and Devahuti's son. So now, as per the Kardama Muni's plan, he wanted to take the sannyasa, renounce order of life after getting the daughters and the son. So now he is getting ready to leave the house, whole thing, and then he wanted to move on to renounce order of life. Since as the Kapila Muni has already appeared, he wanted to hand over Devahuti, the responsibility of Devahuti to the Kapila Muni. And now I think we have seen last few verses where Kardama Muni went to see the Kapila, sage Kapila Muni, and then he offered his glorification. Now in today's verse, now the Kardama Muni stopped his glorification and Supreme Lord started speaking in response to Kardama Muni. So that's why the verse starting with Bhagavan Uvacha. So now there are many important questions Prabhupada was raising and he is clarifying in the purport. The first thing is why Kardama Muni has to take sannyasa order, we renounce order of life. Because Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, he appeared as his son. So his son is there in his house. The Supreme Lord is there in his house. Why he has to leave the house and go to the forest for the renounce order, to take the sannyasa life. Right? So if you see let's take the Prahlada Maharaj pastimes. Like, so what happened in this pastime? So Lord Nrsimhadev appeared to kill Hiranyakashipu. And after killing the Hiranyakashipu, the Lord Nrsimhadev was in very angry mood. No one could pacify his anger. And then Prahlad Maharaj went and he pacified. In return, the Lord Nrsimhadev gave some benediction to Prahlad Maharaj. And Prahlad Maharaj simply told, I don't want any benediction. It's not that the relation is not like a transactional. The Lord is doing something, I have to do something. So that's why he was not interested in taking any benediction from Lord Nrsimhadev. But still Lord Nrsimhadev instructed. What he said, then Prahlad Maharaj asked one thing. My father was an atheist. So Hiranyakashipu was an atheist. And he was a demonic person. So all he was asking is to liberate his father. Then in relation to that word Nrsimhadev, your father is already liberated. Not only your father, so your father's father, that father's father, the 7 generations have been liberated. See, what we can understand from this story, so if the devotee is taking a birth in the family, this is the potency. The devotee can deliver the 7 generations of the family, that they can get liberated. That is the potency of the person, a devotee taking birth in a family. So that we can see from Prahlad Maharaj pastime. So same thing, if you apply the same concept, the philosophy to Kardama Muni. Kardama Muni is a son of Brahma. Brahma is a great devotee of Lord. Not only that, Kardama Muni, he himself did so much tapasya, austerity. With that, Lord Vishnu appeared. So with all these circumstances, and finally the Lord appeared as his son. So that much close affection is there with the Lord, Supreme Lord and Kardama Muni. So it means it is guaranteed that he will easily will get liberated in this material with all these circumstances, like how we appear, like the Prahalada Maharaj past time, when we apply, same thing. So there is no guarantee, there is a guarantee that Kardama Muni will get liberated, but still he is wanted to leave the house and he follow the renounced order of the life. The reason what in the purport and in the translation is, Krishna is the thing. In the translation, if you see, whatever I speak, whether directly or in the scriptures, is authoritative in all respects. So in the purport also, Krishna, the Prabhupada was mentioning, whether authoritatively, properly, or in ordinary speech, whatever he does, that will reflect that the people have to follow. That is a key message we are getting from this, the translation and purport. Now, like in the first canto of Bhagavad Gita, we know that Supreme Personality of God can be realized in three ways: Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan, iti sabdyati. There are three levels where we can understand Krishna. First level is Brahman level, second level is Paramatma as a Vishnu, and the third level is Supreme Bhagavan, Supreme Personality of Godhead. These are the three levels where people can understand Krishna. It all depends on whether you are following Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. The Bhagavan level is the topmost realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, topmost realization of absolute truth. So the Bhagavan is when we do the devotional service, we can understand we can realize the Bhagavan feature of the Supreme Lord. Now, but in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned that Ete Chamsa Kalapamcha Krishnastu Bhagavan same. So Bhagavan, who is the Bhagavan? Krishna is the Bhagavan. Now we understand Bhagavan and who is Bhagavan? Krishna. Now the sage Parashara Muni. Who is the Parashara Muni? Any idea? Yes, father of Vyasadeva. So he compiled all the Vedic literature and he gave the definition of Bhagavan. As per him, there are six opulences the Krishna Bhagavan will possess. Those are the six. What are those six opulences? Strength, fame, wealth, knowledge, beauty, and renunciation. These are the six opulences the Supreme Personality of Godhead will possess. And it's in full, means no one can possess more than Krishna in all these opulences. Right? Fame, strength, fame, wealth, knowledge, beauty, and renounce. All these things will be Krishna is possessing in full. No one can be greater than Krishna. So if you see that one of the last opulences is renunciation. So renunciation means the detachment. So in terms of renunciation, Krishna, no one can be more detached than Krishna. So that is one of the key quality of the Krishna. No one can be more greater than Krishna in terms of detachment, in terms of renouncement. So, and as a follower of Krishna, as a devotee of Krishna, we should also strictly follow this kind of renunciation. Let's see some of the key pastimes where Krishna exhibited this renunciation. Because no one can be more renounced than Krishna means, let's try to understand some of the pastimes of Krishna where he exhibited this kind of renouncement, detachment. We all know Krishna took birth in the prison of Kamsa in Madura and then later immediately shifted to Vrindavan. And there he was having all various pastimes. He was having conjugal love with gopis and Vatsalya rasa with Yashoda Maya and Nanda Maharaj and Sakhya rasa with Gopas. So with various different set of people, he was having different loving exchange. If you see Gopi Gita, we can see how the gopis are feeling the loving the Krishna, right? So, but when the time came, he has to leave Vrindavan and went to Madura to kill Kamsa. After that, he never returned to Vrindavan. So that is, so for so many years, right from the birth, immediately after birth up to youth, he spent so much time in Vrindavan, having different loving exchange relation with various people. So he got connected, he got attached to so many people like gopis, Gopas, and Yashoda Maya, Nanda Maharaj. But when the time came, he left everything and he never returned back to Vrindavan. Right? That is the example of detachment exhibited by, one of the examples exhibited by Krishna. Not only that, in Dwaraka, Krishna was having 16,101 wives. And for every wife, he has a palace. So and they have kids as well. For each wife has a kid. So he was having all these family relations with as per the material thing, material process. He was having all the things like how the normal family man does. So, so in general, if you see in our material life, if we have a family, generally we attach it to our kids, our family members, our parents, so wife, children, everyone. We have so much connection and association. And for them, we try to do so much hard work to fulfill their needs and everything. And even after, when they grow big also, throughout life, we will be thinking about them. We will try to help them. We try to make everything comfortable, their life, right? We do so many things. But see here, Krishna, when he has to wind up the Kali Yuga pastimes, he left everything and he went back to Golok. So that is the renunciation Krishna was exhibiting. Not only that, if you see the Pandavas were very dear to Krishna, and Krishna is dear to Pandavas. Suppose if someone is dear to you, what you will try to do? You always try to protect them. You don't want them to get into any troubles. First of all, first thing you will ensure that if you have some authority on this person, you will ensure that that person will never get into trouble. That is your love, right? And the second thing, when you get into troubles, even after your so much protection, if they get into troubles, you will try to help them to come out of the troubles. That is the second part. But now you see in terms of our Pandavas, they encountered so many difficulties throughout their life, right? But every stage Krishna was there with them, and he helped, he protected them to come out of the situation. But as a Krishna is a Bhagavan, he can, if he wanted, he could have ensured that no such difficulty will come to Pandavas. But what he did, he ensured that they face that difficulties and they will come out smoothly, right? So we can see, one side we can see attachment, at the same time we can see some kind of detachment in Krishna's actions. So this is how Krishna exhibited all this his pastimes in terms of detachment, in terms of renunciation. That's why no one can be more greater renounced than Krishna. Not only the Draupadi, when the Draupadi was humiliated in Kurusabha, right? So when nobody was helping, but finally Krishna helped, but she was getting that kind of humiliation, right? So with all this we can understand how Krishna is renounced, detached. Not only that, if you see the Lord Rama's pastimes, who is also Supreme Bhagavan, same thing happened. He was about to become a king in Ayodhya, but immediately in overnight things have changed, and he had to leave the Ayodhya and go to forest. Immediately he accepted without any hesitation, without arguing with Dasharath or any Kaikeyi. No one, he didn't do anything. Simply accepted his father's order and he left forest. So that is, one night he is supposed to become a king, and the next day morning he went to forest. That is a full contrast, different kind of. So these all things we can see how renounced the Supreme Lord is. And not only that, in the last pastime we can discuss in relation to this is Chaitanya Charitamrita. Lord Chaitanya pastimes. At the young age, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyasa. He left his mother and wife and their complete family, and he was detached. So with all these things, what we can understand, why we are discussing, we want to just trying to understand the Krishna's pastimes in relation to renounce, in relation to detachment. And why he is doing this? In Bhagavad Gita, we have chapter 3, right? Yad yad acharati shreshtas tat tat eva taro jana sayad pramanam kurte lokastad anuvartate. Whatever action a great man performs, common man will follow. Whatever standards he sets, great people set, all the people will pursue, right? So this is the path Krishna is setting. So in line, if we are following, if we are a devotee, if we wanted to become a devotee of Krishna, if we wanted to follow the footsteps of Krishna, what is that? Renounce. No one can be more greater than renounced than Krishna. We see all these pastimes, and it is our duty to get into the renounced order. So it's the same concept with the same idea. Kardama Muni was getting into taking the renounced order of life. Even though Supreme Lord is taking birth in his house, but Krishna is, that's why in the purport and the translation it was mentioned, whether I speak directly or indirectly, whatever he does, those things are authoritative. So whatever our pastimes Krishna's, whatever we discussed so far, these pastimes are authoritative. So that will give us a direction how we should lead in this life. So this is one aspect. So from this thing we can understand why, with this past tense, we can understand why Kardama Muni is taking the renounced order of life, even though the Supreme Lord Kapila then is there in his house. So the next one, then the purport of Prabhupada was mentioning in the Kali Yuga, sannyasa is prohibited because everyone is Shudra, cannot follow the rules and regulations. That was so it is in the Kali Yuga, we cannot follow, because in the Bhagavatam also it said, Manda Sumanda Matayo, Manda Bhagyo Upadrita, right? All the people in Kali Yuga are the dull-headed people, lazy, right? It's difficult for them to follow these sannyasa rules. What are those sannyasa rules? Let's briefly discuss. Like, there are 4 stages in sannyasa. I think most previously many people had discussed it, but briefly touch those, revise those rules in relation to this topic. So there are 4 stages in sannyasa. One is Kutichaka. The next one, Bahudaka. Third one is Parivrajaka Acharya. And the fourth one is Paramahamsa. These are the 4 different stages in sannyasa. And each level, there are different rules applicable. Like if you are in Kutichaka, the initial stage of sannyasi, what is you go away from your village. You will stay outside of your village, and you will your family members will come and give the food. So that is the provision you will have. So that is the initial stage of the sannyasa. So people can see. And the next one is Bahudaka. So this is the stage you will not accept anything from your family members. What you will do? You will go to each and every house. Whatever they give, you will take. And this is called Madhukari. So whatever they give, you have to accept, and you should not preserve for something for next few days like that. No, you should take whatever they give, little bit amount from food, and you have to accept. And not it's like it was compared like the bumblebee, where if the bee goes to each and every flower and gets some honey, and it accumulate, right? Same thing, this sannyasi at the Bahudaka stage, he has to travel, he has to go everywhere and get the food, whatever prasadam he gets, and he has to take. So that is the Bahudaka stage. And next, Paramahamsa stage is then Parivrajaka Acharya. Parivrajaka stage is Acharya stage, where he will start roaming all over the world to preach Krishna consciousness to everyone. So that is the Parivrajaka Acharya stage. And then the last stage is Paramahamsa stage. In the Paramahamsa stage, you will sit at one place. Now you will focus on this. So far you did different activities. Now it's a final stage where you will sit at one place. You will avoid traveling. So you will focus on your personal spiritual advancement. So where you will completely focus on Krishna consciousness, and all your senses will be completely engaged in Krishna's service. So you will be focused on unalloyed devotional path. So this is the different stages. So if you see, like these are the 4 stages. To reach 4 stages, it's very tough, because you cannot have your house. You have to travel everywhere and get the food wherever you get it, right? So in the Kali Yuga mentality, people are not. In some places, people are very supportive to sannyasis. Some places, people are not supportive. So there are not. That is one thing. And for the person who is following the sannyasa rule also, it is very difficult to accumulate, because the weather conditions, whatever, so many things, Kali Yuga factors impact, so that they will not be able to follow this. These are properly the sannyasa. So that is what we can. These are the various rules which a sannyasi follow. So the next thing, the Prabhupada was saying that in the Kali Yuga we should not follow the sannyasa order. There is a verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita Adilila, chapter 17, text 164. Ashwamedam gavalambam sannyasam palapaitrukam devara sutoptam kalau pancha vivarjayet. So kalau pancha vivarjayet. There are 5. Kalau means the Kali Yuga, pancha 5, vivarjayet, visarjayet. We have vivarjayet, sorry. So vivarjayet. So vivarjayet means we have to give out. We have to renounce. We have to detach. 5 things. What are that? Ashwamedam. So horse sacrifice. And then Gavalambam means it's a cow sacrifice, sacrificing the cow. And the next one, sannyasi, the renounced order of life. And Palapayatrukam means begetting the children through brother's, husband's brother. And then that is the Devara Sutoptam. So these are the 5 things we have to. This is the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it was mentioned. So in that sannyasa is there, one of the things we are not supposed to follow in Kali Yuga. This is the Shastra. But now, when we understand Chaitanya Mahaprabhu past times, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself took the sannyasa order, right? And not only that, he supported his brother Vishwarupa also took the sannyasa. He supported that as well. So both, then one side we see the Shastras, Chaitanya Charitamrita and other scriptures saying sannyasa is prohibited in the Kali Yuga because we are not qualified enough to follow those rules. But other side, when we see the Supreme Personality of Krishna, who incarnated as a Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who took the sannyasa. And like if you see Srila Prabhupada, he also took sannyasa and he did up all so much, because of him only, we all are sitting here reading Bhagavatam and discussing glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam and Krishna's pastimes we are discussing, right? So Srila Prabhupada also took. Then how we can understand? One side we are saying no sannyasa allowed in this Kali Yuga. The other side we see the examples right in front. We can see that these great acharyas took the sannyasa. How we can understand? So the thing is, when you are saying that sannyasa is prohibited, what it means, you have to take the sannyasa for the service of Krishna. That is the first important point. For the service of Supreme Lord, we have to take the sannyasa. That is the only, then only, if you take sannyasa, then you will be able to do the service properly. That is one aspect. Second thing, when the sannyasa is not allowed means, the sannyasa from Mayavadi gurus is not allowed. That is a meaning. When the sannyasa from Mayavadi. So what Mayavadi sannyasis most generally do, they will start walking over the roads and whatever the people give, they will start eating and they will filling the belly. That is the only purpose, that is the only thing they do. So because of this kind of process, they will eat whatever they get, they will eat. They don't follow any proper principles or the proper Vidhi Vidhan, they don't follow. Not only that, when the Sankaracharya started the Mayavada philosophy, the rules were very strict. But later, they changed the philosophy and after that, people started following in a different way. So what they consider, so if they take sannyasa, they will become a Narayana. They assume, the Mayavadi philosophy thinks that if they take sannyasa, they will become Narayana, they will become God. That kind of attitude they develop. So because of all these, considering all these things, it was mentioned that sannyasa is not allowed. But sannyasa for the service of Supreme Lord is allowed. That's why if you see Srila Prabhupada, he traveled all over the globe and he established so many temples and he converted so many fallen souls, like so many hippies, drug addicts, so many, though at that time they were doing all sort of different abominable activities they were doing. But by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, what happened? Everybody became great devotees of the Lord. So for this purpose, if you are doing this kind of activities, sannyasa is allowed. Otherwise, it is not allowed in this. That is the key message. Even so many sannyas, our Maharaj, in our movement also, there are many great sannyasis were there. Maharajas are there. They are doing great services like many other, not just they are going to every corner of the globe and they're like you say Africa or America, Europe, Asia, every part of the globe, they are going and they are preaching the Krishna consciousness and they are converting the people into Krishna conscious devotees. Even if you see that Maharajas, when they give Diksha to any disciple, they will, suppose if the disciple is not following the properly, the reaction, the Guru will have that impact, right? Though they are taking that risk and propagating the Krishna conscious movement, glories of Krishna and making the devotees Krishna conscious, right? So that is the risk they are taking, that should be the purpose. Not just to travel around the roads and eat whatever and put saffron clothes and do all the nonsense things. That is not, even if the purport Prabhupada was telling, they are breaking all the rules. Some of the so-called sannyasis, they are breaking all the rules, everything. But that is not actual sannyasi. The devotional aspect is the key thing when you are taking the sannyasa. So the taking the sannyasa is one aspect, the renounce that is. But now not everybody can follow the sannyasa order, right? Renounce order. But even the common man also have some kind of detachment. How that can happen? So if you see Bhagavad Gita, Aham Sarvasya Prabhu Matta Sarvam Pravartati, right? All the material, Krishna is saying that all the material world and spiritual world, everything is emanating from him. He is the source of material and spiritual world. And in the material world, all the jivas are there. With jivas are marginal energy of Krishna. So everything belongs to Krishna. So even our body is Krishna's property, right? So what else we have to renounce, detach? Nothing is there. Body is Krishna's body. This material world is Krishna's material world. And then what is there left for us to renounce? So that question can come. So what we can, the answer Prabhupada was explaining in one of the morning works. So whatever you have, everything, do use it for the service of Krishna. That consciousness you have to develop. If the body is there, and to maintain this body, you will get house, car, you will get earn money, everything, all the body and all the bodily necessities, whatever you accumulating, use in the service of Krishna. We have to develop that kind of attitude, that consciousness we have to develop. That is the way we can renounce as a normal. You can, if not, you cannot become a sannyasi, but if a normal day-to-day person also, you need to develop that kind of consciousness so that you can also detach. So can also, being a follower of Krishna conscious, the devotee of Krishna, Krishna exhibited is the greatest renouncer in the whole complete material world or spiritual world, right? So as a devotee of Krishna, at least you should show some kind of detachment. Then you feel yourself, yeah, okay, I am a devotee of Krishna, right? So the detachment you can show is your consciousness should be such that whatever you possess, you have, that you offer to the Krishna. That is a key message we can understand. The other ways, there are multiple ways, there are multiple things we can follow to get the detachment. There is a verse in Bhagavad Gita, right? Famous verse 2.59. Vishya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasovarjam rasopyasa param dushtva nivartate. So to focus your mind from the low level material things to higher things, what you have to do? You have to develop the taste for higher Krishna conscious things. So like in if you follow Ashtanga yoga or any other yoga, what they tell, they have to control the senses. You have to forcefully control, withdraw the senses and stop engaging with the other sense objects, right? That is they recommend. But in Kali Yuga, it's very hard. If you close the eyes, try to meditate for 1 minute, your mind will roam around, right? It will not be in your control. So such things are not practical. But how we can do the detachment and renouncement? So we can see this. You need to start focusing on higher things. Then you will be able to come out of this, the attachment to the lower things. One nice example, this to understand this more clearly, there is a nice example from Sri Ramanujacharya pastimes. Like Ramanujacharya is a great Vaishnava saint, and he was in Srirangam, and he goes to take the darshan of Lord Ranganath. And one day when he was going to take darshan of Lord Ranganath, he saw a person. Generally, his name was he was a bodybuilder, and his name was Dhanurdas. So he was going with his wife. But one thing attracted to Ramanujacharya is he was not doing something normal, he is not walking. What he is doing, it was very hot. It's afternoon time, the weather was so hot. So he was holding an umbrella to protect this hot heat for his wife. And he was holding, that is one thing. That is nothing normal, okay. But the other specific thing is he was walking backward. So the wife was walking like this, and he was holding umbrella, he was walking backward. He's seeing his wife's face and walking backward. So that is what he was doing, and he was going through the temple street. And Ramanujacharya saw this. And then he spoke to that, he stopped them, and he told, if you come to me, I will show more beautiful than your wife. I will show something which is more beautiful than your wife. Then he told, okay, then he was initially, he agreed. But he told, okay, come in the evening. So evening, this Dhanurdasu came to the Ramanujacharya. And the Ramanujacharya took him to the Lord in temple, inside the temple. He showed the deity of the Lord Ranganath. And that way we saw the first time that Dhanurdas was seeing the Lord Ranganath's deity. That's it. His consciousness completely changed. He was so much attracted to Ranganath's deity. And he became a devotee. Not only that, his wife also became a deity. So that is how we need to develop the taste on higher things so that you will come out of these lower modes. This is how we can develop the detachment as a normal gruhastha or any how the other householders. We can develop, these are various things we can follow. And the other one is in the chapter 18th also, it was mentioned in the 11th verse. It is impossible to completely stop the activities, right? So whatever activity you are doing, it looks material, but what should be your consciousness? You have to you have to be detached from the results of the activities. So that is how you should uh, develop the consciousness. Rather than, you cannot detach from the activity, but you do the activity, but don't get attached to the results of the activity. So this is another way of getting the detached. So these are the various ways in the Bhagavad Gita. So many things mentioned, so many places. So these are the few points where I thought I would share with you to develop this renounced detachment in our day-to-day life. So that's all from my side today. Any comments? Any questions? Yes. Yes. Yeah. That's Prabhu. You have done. Mm. Okay, in terms of the atheist, how we can, he's a Krishna, Vishnu is there, but he is not considering Vishnu as a god, right? In that aspect, it could be like a, yeah. I heard it somewhere, it is atheist in some, like I lecture I heard, but in that context, Vishnu is there, but he is not considering him as a god. In that aspect, you can say it, like, but yeah, he's a demonic person, that we can say. As per my understanding, I never heard any such thing, Prabhu. Uh, so once the Krishna left the Vrindavan and went to, then I heard mostly the pastimes of Krishna, but I never heard anything like Vasudeva or Nanda Maharaj took the sannyasa, that sort of, I don't think it is. Yeah. See, that is what it is there, it is mentioned, like there are four stages, right? The brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha and sannyasa. This is the order of the life, everyone, this is the recommended, Vedas has recommended. So the great people, they sages like Kardamoni and many people, they have followed. And but it's a grihastha, yeah, not it's a, I think it's individual choice, I guess. But Kardamoni has followed based on the Krishna's, whatever Krishna followed, he's saying that, and he wanted to implement in this life. But now, don't need to, everyone need not be sannyasi, but grihastha also, many people in the Bhagavatam, we see many people got liberated from this material world. Those are all grihasthas, right? So it's not compulsory, but this is recommended in Vedas. Whether we accept it or not, it's our choice. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. 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 See, he's following other sannyasi prescribed duties, but only few things, certain things are exceptional. So this is the initial stage, right? So suppose if you beginning itself is too much hardcore sannyasi rules you follow, then there is a chance that you will fall down, right? So it's like a gradual evolution. Like that's why in about kuti chaka stage, you will get food from family. If you don't want, you can say, I think you are allowed. It is allowed to get eat from food, but it's not compulsory that everyone will look for that, right? That could be the option, right? He doesn't want to take food from house as well. They may decide, but that option is available to take food from house. So, yeah, that is it. So, but when you practice after gradually, you will go into the bahudaka stage where you will now go to every house and get the food from each and every house. So whatever they give, if they don't give, you will not have. I remember one pastime from Ramanujacharya. Just briefly, I will explain. See, his disciple is the Kureshi. He was reading Bhagavad Gita, learning Bhagavad Gita from Ramanujacharya, and he's asked the famous verse, 18, what is that? So abandon all the religious and surrender unto me, right? So that he wanted to understand that how. Then Ramanujacharya told what he said. Okay, instead of me explaining what he suggested, you go out of this ashram, roam around the complete village wherever they are living. Don't come back. So you should not know where you are going next day and where your food is. You are going to get your prasadam. You don't have any idea. Like that, you live 30 days and then you come back. So that kind of example he gave. So you completely you are dependent on Krishna. You don't know which direction you will be going. You don't know where you will be getting food. So that was the Ramanujacharya explained. So that way you live for 30 days, then you come back. Then you will understand what is the Sarva Dharmanu Parityajya Mameke Sharanam. That is what he was explaining. So he did that 30 days. And he came back, he understood the meaning of Sarva Dharmanu Parityajya Mameke Sharanam. So that things are there. People will do that, like renunciation. That Qureshi was a disciple of Ramanuja. He did that. So, yeah. So people follow that. So Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.